Good afternoon. We're just waiting for more people to log in, and then we'll get started momentarily. Just going to give about 1 more minute for people to log in. Okay, yeah, for the time, let's get this started off today. My name is George Outerbridge. I'm the supervisor of the registration division. And on this call with me, I also have Maria Bujum, the assistant registrar of the registration division, and Joe Boisan, our comptroller. The purpose of this webinar is to go over the annual fee filing period for the for exempted companies. That will be exempted companies, exempted LLCs, and partnerships. That's what we're going to cover today. The module is now active on our system, and we have also brought the and we have also enabled the ability to have additional debit accounts separate for the annual fees. Before I go any further, just a few housekeeping things. We're going to keep this I'm going to try to keep this meeting to 45 minutes, so to end up at 11:45. We're going to go through the presentation. After we do the presentation, we have a question and answer section. I'll also be giving updates on our system. Now, as everyone knows, we kicked off our new electronic registry system in June of this year. And we are still technically in our initial launch phase, where we're going through all of our services, bringing on additional services, making updates as we go through. And I know everyone should be quite used to our system by now, but there's always additional questions that we are happy to answer to help everyone utilize the system to the best of its capabilities. As I stated, we have brought the annual government fee. The annual government fees have come online. There is also the additional ability to set up a separate debit account that will allow you to use to segregate the annual fees payable for companies from other application fees. And as we go through, there's a lot of questions that we've been getting about the system. Going through, I'm going to try to answer some of those as I do the presentation. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So this is our company registry site. Just to answer another question. The registry site is available for entities to maintain their requirements with the various acts with the registrar companies. It is also available for public searches. So, because this is one question that I've been asked a lot lately. A user from the public can log on to our system, register an account, and search the public files of an entity the same way how they used to with when it was in a physical format, where they used to come up to our office and actually conduct a search. You can do that completely online now. Now, as you know, as I said, we're still in the initial launch period. So we're still uploading the physical files against the digital files, against the digital company records at this time. We are making progress with that, but we still have approximately 35 to 40,000 files, physical files, outstanding. As some of you may know, there's roughly about 15,000 entities active entities on the register. And most of those companies have multiple files for there. So just to reiterate the search process, if you wish to do a public search, you will go into the company record under the filing history. There will be a tab called Migrated Filing. Through there, you would actually be able to, if the file has already been updated, you'll be able to see the physical files there. And if you do not see any physical files there, an email can be sent to our search team, our ROC search, to have those files uploaded. Okay, so just to go in. Now, some other questions I've been getting concerning the accounts. It is very important that when you are logging in, if you are linked to an organization, you will be going in and actually using that your organizational account. The way how the system is set up, you can have one user that can go through multiple organizations, or you can come in as an individual user. So on the main page here, this is my organization that I am linked to. So when I am logged in under my organization, I will have access to all of the entities that this organization has authority over, and be able to make filings and search the history for those. Now, as an individual, if I was to log in as an individual, I would not have access to all of these entities under this organization. I would either have my own entities, or alternatively, this could just be if I was going in to do a public search, and I could use my individual account. Now, just to go through the accounts, this is how it would appear once you have a secondary account set up. Now, it is very important that when you are putting through payments, how the process is, you send through a wire payment to our account, and then you also send through a payment through here, through the system. So it's very important that if you are sending through your bulk payment to pay for a group of companies' annual fees, you would top up the correct account. And once that is in, an internal user would verify that we have received the fees into our account and apply it to your debit account online. Now, I'm gonna when I go through the annual fees, I will show you. You actually have the ability to select which account you are taking payment out of for each transaction. And it is very important that you select the correct account. As everyone knows, our annual fee period is very busy, and our internal staff will be mostly focused on ensuring that people's records are up to date, keeping that up. We will not have the capacity to be transferring to be doing multiple transfers. For instance, if someone goes in and applies it under the wrong account, we're not going to have the capacity to be going in and rectifying those payments immediately. So ensure that the correct account is used, and it will be definitely labeled separately with annual fees. Okay, without further ado, let's get into the actual demonstration. So for each, so the way how you pay your annual government fees on the new system is to actually go into each entity. Now I have authority over this entity and can manage it and maintain the entity's records and also make filings for it. Just while I'm on this page, because I'm sorry, just so everyone knows, we have actually made additional updates to the system. So new services are online. An industry notice will go out with these additional services, so everyone keeps a record, so you don't have to write them down right now. You'll get another notice with this, but I just wanted to bring this to people's attention. So we can actually maintain segregated account company details, request a deregistration of a segregated account company. You can file notice of discontinuance. And also, if you're discontinuing to a jurisdiction that isn't appointed, you can apply for jurisdictional approval prior to it. And also while I'm here, just to, like I said, they go through some additional questions, frequently asked questions that we have. When you are whenever you're making a filing, especially concerning like the director's filings. Director's filings are whenever you make a submission, that entire submission is one filing. So you can do you can do many things within that one filing. You can appoint a director, you can cease a director, you can change the director's details, all within that one filing. You do not have to do multiple filings. So if you do not have to do one filing to appoint a director, another filing to cease a director. If you have multiple filings in that time, you would do them all in one filing. Also, the date, as Brent has brought up some issues with when you are appointing a director, the appointment date is the date that the 30-day deadline applies by. If you are ceasing, the cease date is the date that the 30 days starts on. And for any other changes, the effective date is the date. So hopefully that clears that up a little bit. Now for the annual government fees, getting back to this, what you do is you actually go in and select this link, the pay annual fee. Now, when you go in, this will actually be pulling information from our system. So this will pull out the information that we currently have on record. So as you can see, we have the financial year end date. Most people will recognize this is the same information we used to collect in paper form in the declaration. So when you fill in this and submit everything, you would actually have it would actually create a filing against the annual declaration against the company record. The one thing that is not selected is the relevant activity, because we want you to indicate whether or not that can change from year to year. Usually the activity of the company doesn't. That's pulled from the system. Also, in this phase, you'll be able to select whether the company is a parent company of a wholly owned exempted company that carries on insurance business as defined in the Insurance Act. If you select yes, you can actually look up that company. I have one set. Yeah. So if you cannot locate the company here, you can actually contact our office and we can update the record so that company will show up here. Now, just take a step back. As you know, we've had a lot of we had over 40 years worth of data that we've migrated over. If you go into an entity and for instance, the share capital is not reflected correctly, and it wasn't captured during, it wasn't updated during the update profile service. Now is the time to actually reach out to us so that we can get that corrected prior to the annual fee being applied. So that's going to be the main focus at the registrar companies over the month of December and into January. So I'm asking the industry to please work with us and try to get the information to us as soon as possible. In other words, don't wait until January 31st to come in and indicate that you have a bunch of companies that the records need to be updated for, because at that point in time, it's going to be very, very hard for us to get it updated in time. Most of these things, I will send out there's actually a spreadsheet that we use to update these records. I'll be sending that out in an additional industry notice as well. So the industry notice with the updates and how to get things updated will be going out in the beginning of December. Also inside of here, you can indicate the number of segregated accounts. And here you can actually, you can modify the share premium account. Now, but it only allows you to modify it up, because if the share premium account is reduced, is less than this amount, usually you would either file a reduction. Or there's alternative methods that can be done, but those ones you have to notify us in advance to make sure that to get that updated prior to. The same with the authorized share capital and the issued share capital. Okay, now that we're through that, so if everything in here appears to be correct, hit done and apply. Now the system's designed to actually capture the correct amount for segregated accounts. It also captured it for unit trust, and it calculates up the amount. Now this is our first annual fee period with the new system. There's a lot of complex calculations going on behind the scenes. As you know, there are multiple situations you can go through. You can do have multiple different classes of shares. It adds all of those things up. It converts the currency and calculates up what the fee should be. If this fee is not correct, reach out to us as soon as possible, so we can make sure that it's correct before you apply the fees. You'll put in your client reference and also the payment method. Since I'm here at the payment screen, I can also advise that recently we have initiated credit card payments. That is for any smaller payments, to allow people to do additional searches and such. So debit accounts are not the only way you can make payments on our system now. Credit cards have also been activated. So that will allow any, like I said, individuals that wish to do a search, so they don't have to send over a wire for each search, which can get costly. You can actually use a credit card on our system now. And when it comes to I know we're dealing with exempted companies today, but when it comes to local companies can actually come in and pay their fees directly through a credit card. So as you see, when you select your account, you have the option to select which account you want to use. Now, this is when I say it's very important that you would go in and select the annual fees one. If you select this one and you send it through, it's gonna cause a pile up on our side trying to reverse those fees. Also, just to point it out, when you are on this page or the previous one, the system does not it does weird things when you press the back button, because usually it will save a copy of the application that you're done, and if you've already got to the payment screen, it's already calculated up the fee. So if you was to go back now and then access to modify it, it will basically lock this thing in, lock the fee in, because it's already calculated it up for this service. If at any time you need to go out, always hit cancel. You'll press yes, and then it'll ask you again, are you sure that you want to discard the actual application? At that point in time, you will say yes, and then it will make it fresh. It will make it for a fresh application. If I was to leave this application now without canceling, it would if I came back in, it would actually have a record of this application for you to actually do later. So once you've hit through complete, it sends it through, and that one has been completed. You will receive a receipt with the information for the annual fee. And also see under the filing history, you have the annual return. It was submitted by. Everything right against the filing history of the company. This is where I was saying migrated filing. If you come in and actually do a search, usually there will be PDFs attached there. If there's not, that's when you contact our search team to it. Okay. Now, as you guys know, the exempted companies are the most complex, more complex fees. Alternatively, we also have the partnerships. But everything goes in under the same process. Also, I forgot to mention, so conversion services are also online for all entity types. The registrations are online for partnerships. These are all additional services that we brought online. But for partnerships and LLCs, there are set fees. The actual filing looks pretty much the same, except of course it does not have share capital. It will conduct it out, calculate up the fee. You put in your client reference number if you wish. Select the correct account. And my whole thing is, and this is what I've been trying to stress with people, because everything's right there on the system, there's no need to rush through applications. So just prior to submitting this, go back, make sure, yep, you've selected the correct account. It even brings up the account name here, account number, and everything right on that screen prior to hitting continue. Once that's going through, like I said, you receive notification that the application's been submitted, along with a receipt for your annual government fee. And I'm just gonna run through one more. So we've done a partnership, a exempted company, and now we're gonna do an LLC. This will also, and we are at the registrar companies, we're constantly doing audits of our records. So like I said, we brought over a vast amount of data from that was manually entered over decades. So the main thing that I'm looking at doing over the next probably about a year is making sure that all of our data is up to date, accurate, and timely. So We appreciate the industry's assistance with this, verifying the document, verifying our records against yours to make sure everything's in order. And if anything's looks out of the ordinary or doesn't look right, we can work together to get that done. The general email box for the registrar of companies is the ROC Help Center inbox. That's where we field most of our requests. For individual applications, you would actually reach out to the registration agent that would be dealing with that application. This also to bring on time. Once, this is where I just reiterate, when you are submitting an application, please review the application multiple times before it's sent in to make sure that everything is accurate in that application. Once an application has been submitted to us and approved and it's been applied to the register, any changes will have to be done through a subsequent filing. That's I sent the industry notice out recently. That is under Section 24B of the Companies Act. That would allow you to make corrections for companies. We also have a corresponding section in the LLC Act, and we're working on getting one for the partnership, so we can accurately fix any errors. But of course, it's always better to get the application correct first before it's sent in, so that we can move on. Also, as a general update, currently we are averaging between 50 and 75 applications sent to the registrar of companies a day. As everyone knows, we currently have 4 registration agents who are diligently working on those applications that are submitted in. Any application that is incorrect or that has to go back is that of course increases the timeline for all of the applications that are submitted. So that's why that's another reason why I stress that, to make sure that the applications are as accurate as possible initially, and also because we have such a high volume, it is always best to get the application to us as soon as possible. What that means is, if the application is due within 30 days, please try to submit the application prior to that. Because if you're submitting the application on the 30th day and you're having any issues or something, my agents might not be able to attend to you at that exact time. But if you get it to us early enough, we will make every accommodation to make sure that everything's accurate. Got a little sidetracked there, but here we go. So this is the LLCs. As you see, it just calculates up the fee. Select your payment method. Just to show you, if you select the credit cards and you press continue, it will take you to another page where you put in your credit card information. All of our information is very secure. Our host has a very robust security regime. Back. Like I said, make sure the correct account is selected. It's going to show up in multiple places, so you have multiple ways to verify it. And that's it. So that's how you'll be going through to actually pull through all of the annual government fees. With that, okay, we're going to jump to some questions now. I think I've given everyone most of the updates that I had in mind. Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to get to before we get to the questions. I've noticed with some people, with local companies, when you are submitting a registration, the Act allows you to file your annual return of shareholdings and pay the annual government fees within 30 days of the registration. If you do not pay that within, if you do not pay your annual government fee and file the ARS within 30 days, you'll receive a notification from the system reminding you to do so. And if you do not, then we will be reaching out to you, because the system's actually designed, if that is not paid up, if the company is not in compliance, and we will be contacting you to determine if the company is conducting business. And if we cannot determine that, the system's designed to start up the strike off procedures. It's not an automatic thing. It has to be manually processed, but the system brings all of those things up. So I noticed, because I have a couple of incorporations that were done with the ARS that's not been filed as of yet. So just go through your emails and make sure that those filings have been made. With that, I'm going to bring Maria on, and we're going to go on through the questions.
Okay, thanks, George. Let's start off. Okay, we've got quite a few questions. So the first one, if you have more than one subsidiary, do you just select any one of those for the exempted company box?
Okay, now the actual payment, the actual rule for the payment is that it is the parent company of an exempted company, that an insurance company under the Insurance Act 1978. So what you're doing, so you're going in as the parent company. So you would just select, if you don't have to select multiple subsidiaries, you just, as long as you get one of them, you apply for that exemption. So you don't actually do multiples.
Okay, will the system pull authorized share capital as at 31st of August, 2021?
No, it will not. It's actually designed to pull up the current capital. That's how the system was designed. But how we are rectifying that, if the capital does not reflect what it was, because the Act currently still indicates that it should be pulled from August 31st, from the capital at August 31st. If the capital does not reflect that at the time of that you're paying the annual government fee, let us know, and we will adapt it to make sure that the correct fee is done and that the correct capital is shown on the system.
Okay, next question. If we need to notify the ROC of reductions in share premium, how long will this approval take?
The sooner you get it into us, the better. It's not that those ones are not really approvals. Those are just notifying us that something's changed. As like I said, the sooner you get those things into us, the better. As we get closer to the deadline, and also, like I said, my agents are currently flat out with current applications, but as soon as you get it into us, and we can rectify it, like in some cases immediately, in some cases we try to get that done within a couple of days. And it all depends on how much information you give us, because we have to determine whether or not that filing should have been a reduction or not.
Okay, sorry, I am not understanding why, if the share premium account and or the share issue amount is less, we cannot simply put in the current reduced amount. Why do we have to request a reduction from the ROC? I understand if there is a reduction of the share capital. Please explain or clarify.
Section 46 of the Companies Act actually requires you to file to do share premium reductions. Now, there are instances, whereas in the previous example, where that share premium has been reduced, has been utilized by the company, that you don't have to file a reduction. But in other instances where it is just reduced, you actually have to make that filing.
If you have multiple entities in the group, is there a way of making a single payment and allocating to the respective companies?
You have to pay each one separately. The system is built as an entity-centric system, so you're actually going into each individual entity and making a filing for that entity. As I've indicated previously, we are currently still in phase one, launch phase. In additional phases, that will probably be in about phase three. We are looking at the possibility of integrating our system with individual CSP systems, and at that point in time, that's when we will look at whether or not we can provide bulk payments.
Can we use credit card for exempted company annual government fees?
You certainly can, as long as your limit's over that. You can use credit card payments for any payment on our system. The one thing I note with those ones is I know some of them, as you get up higher, there's a higher limit on the thing, but you can use credit card payments for any payment on our system now.
Okay, before we go any further, I just want to remind everyone that I'm reading these, I'm just focusing in on what's been sent into question and answer. Please try not to send in the questions in the chat. It's just easier to get them out of the questions and answers. So if you could just make sure you send them in there, that would be really appreciated. Thanks. Okay, next question. Previously, it's been 24 hours before funds are applied. Do we have to wait 24 hours after applying funds to the AGF account before making payment?
I would recommend that you do both of them at the same time. The whole thing is we have to verify on our side, right? So if the government accounts are HSBC accounts, usually with HSBC accounts, when you do if you're doing a transfer, it comes up immediately. So those will be put through. Alternatively, if you're doing it from other accounts, that all depends on when the bank receives it. But the best thing to do is to actually send it through at the same time. Our accounts team actually reviews the work queues daily, so they would see. So even if it hasn't reached our account yet, at least the accounts team would know to be expecting that payment into our bank account.
I understand that when we pay the annual fee, we need to fill in this form. Does this mean that there is no annual declaration to be submitted now and it's all done in one screen?
That is correct. The majority of what we tried to do with the system was reduce paperwork. We're trying to save the environment. So now the system actually creates electronic filings against the company record, and those electronic filings are reflective of the information that's required under the Companies Act. And they're usually copies of what the physical forms used to be.
Okay, someone's asking if you could repeat the instructions about setting up an account that says annual fees.
Okay, in my industry notice, there was actually the instructions on how to set up an account. It was the same way how the same instructions that we had for the initial account setup. So you send an email to ROC accounts with the information in there indicating that you wish to have a secondary account to pay annual government fees out of. And then once an internal person actually sets up your account, and then once it's set up, that's when it will actually show up here. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
If we ran the profile update, then the share capital section should be current and accurate, correct?
That is correct. But there was a lot of there's just because I know we had a lot of applications during June, and of course that was and the timeline was very short between when we launched and when people had to get into the update profile services, and sometimes the records were not updated correctly. So in those instances, we're still trying to get the records done accurately, and but so that's why we're encouraging people to go back, review. We actually have a data specialist that we're bringing in house that will allow us to actually to run more data queries on our data to try and see if we can indicate any areas where there's discrepancies.
Do we need to make sure that the authorized share capital or issued share capital is correct as at the current date or as at the 31st of August? Noting that filings are made based on information as at 31st of August.
Now that was, so for those ones, like I said, the system's not capturing the date from the share capital from 31st of August. So if there's any indication, if the share capital has changed since August 31st, let us know, and we'll work with you to make sure that the correct fee is assessed.
Okay, this is a question on directors. Can you please repeat explanation on dates for directors, appointment, cease, effective?
Okay, like I said, for the director's filings, you can, that entire submission is one filing. So let's say you had a new director appointed, a director ceased, a director's address changed, a director's name changed. So any of those features, you can do that, and you can do all of those in one filing. Now the act allows for 30 days. You have to file that with the registrar of companies within 30 days of it taking effect. So for new appointments, the 30 days starts from the appointment date. For ceased directors, the 30 days starts from the cease date. And for any other changes, it starts from the effective date. So those are the dates that it goes off of.
Okay. There's no place to include assessable capital and exchange rate, which we previously had to state on the declaration. How is this calculated?
The system calculates up the assessable capital, which is the authorized share capital plus the share premium, and it also calculates up the exchange rate. The exchange rates that we use is as of the date of your submission.
Can companies pay their own AGFs while still allowing their CSP to handle other applications?
They certainly can. That is by who has authority over the entity. That was one thing that I meant to actually go through. Because there's some other questions concerning authority. I'm sorry, Maria, this might take me over just a little bit over 11:45, but I think
that's fine.
Definitely.
Okay.
So when you completed the update profile service, you got initial authority. When you are granting authority to other people, to other users. So technically, a company can come in and gain authority of its own entity. That would usually be either a director authority, and those directors will have to be linked to one of those directors that are listed. Alternatively, you can also do authorized agent authority. Anybody who has authority over an entity and is granting authority to another user should have all the details of that user. If somebody is coming in and performing a duty as an individual, so remember when I said individual or organizational account? So if they are if they're individual, you send them an authorized agent authority. If you are sending it to another organization to act, to make filings or to do anything on behalf of that company, you will send them an authorized organization agent. Inside of here, you will send, all you're doing is sending it to an email address. The email that comes has a couple of different links. There's one for people who do not have a user account, and it would direct you to set up a user account and confirm authority. The other one has, it would tell you to come in if you've already logged in. Now, how that works is whatever account you are logged in under at that particular point in time, that is what it will try to link the authority to. I have people that sometimes people run into error issues where they're logged in under one account, but they want the authority under a different account. As long as you are as long as I am logged into this account under this authority, under this organization, that's what it will try to link it to. Also, when utilizing the system, do not have two windows open with the system up. I've had instances where people have two different accounts and they've tried to do multiple things. If you log in under one account in one window, open up another window and log into a separate account, it will convert that first window back to back. It will take that first window and log you in under the account you logged into under the second one. So it's always best to only have one window open to be utilizing one account at a time whenever doing anything on our system to avoid any errors. All right, so just because I went through that one, let's just run it for another 4 minutes. Any other questions that we have that we've not been able to get to, I'm going to be compiling into the frequently asked questions, and that'll be sent out later. All right, Maria, let's.
Okay, so let's go through a couple more. If, say, the authorized share capital amount of a company was updated incorrectly during a validation, would the correction manual update trigger a fee if it's just a matter of marrying the share capital
You
shown?
wouldn't, if the share capital was not updated correctly, do not make a filing for that. That's why I said, that's where you reach out to us. We would actually have, I actually have a spreadsheet for those corrections that we can send to you, and you will send that into us for us to do corrections. Do not update, if there's any errors that were not captured at the initial stage for as far as share capital, send that in separately. Do not make a filing for that.
Will we get instructions on how to create the dedicated debit account for annual fees? It sounded like we just email.
Yep, those instructions were sent out. Yep, you just send in the email. Those instructions were sent out with the industry notice for this webinar.
Is inclusion of issued share capital for exempted companies a requirement of the Companies Act, or can we leave it blank?
What was that again? Sorry.
Is inclusion of issued share capital for exempted companies a requirement of the Companies Act, or can we leave it blank?
You can leave that blank. That's if you have not recorded the issued share capital previously, you can leave that blank. Usually that shows up after someone is filing for a reduction. So that's when we usually get notified about the issued share capital, when somebody goes, because it's a requirement to file the reduction of issued share capital.
Has the wholly owned subsidiary area been corrected? As I note, I cannot select the corresponding entity when trying to process the AGF.
Now, those ones, whenever we actually have to internally link those companies. Well, not internally link them. We have to identify which ones are the subsidiary companies. So for any of those instances, if you go in and you do not see it does not come up there, then you would notify us, and we will get that updated so you can select it.
Can we begin these filings in December, or do we need to wait until January 2022?
That is actually live now, so you can actually go in and start submitting your applications today if you wish.
Are we able to pay Section 129A and 114B licenses via the online payment?
Yes, those ones should be activated as well. If the company is indicated as having a Section 129A license, or it has a license that requires additional fees, that would also be calculated into the fees.
There's a question about, can we show how to pay fees for SAC cells?
You can actually, in this recording earlier, when I went in, you saw there was a section indicated for how many SAC cells there were. You would just enter the current number of SAC cells at that time, and that will calculate, and the system will calculate that up.
And I just want to confirm that the system will be sending automatic receipts, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Just a couple more questions. What is the expiration note on the top of the screen?
That one is when before an application has been submitted, once you start it, the system automatically saves it. So if you go back, if you start it and just leave without, like I said, without actually canceling it, that application will sit there for a certain amount of time. You can go back into the system and actually start that application again from where you left off. If you don't complete it within whatever timeline is specified and up the top, then that's when it will drop off.
Okay, okay, that's time. It's now 11:51. I want to thank all of you again for joining us. I hope you found this helpful and beneficial, and we will actually, like George said, be posting these questions on our frequently asked questions and answers. If you have specific questions and you don't see the answers to your questions on the frequently asked, then certainly reach out to either ROC Help Center, and you can also reach out to George or myself. And we again thank you and hope you all have a great day.